Welcome to episode 18 of the Brainiac Trivia Top 10 in 10. I am John Boyce, the owner and primary writer and host for the Brainiac Trivia League in Middle Tennessee. I asked 128 questions the week of April 11th, and what follows are my favorite 10 in 10 minutes or less. This is the way it works. I'll ask a question repeated once, 10 seconds later, I'll give the answer. Boom.
Number 10.
We're going to start with clues and intros on this one. So a two-part question, I'll give you a clue, then I'm going to play the intro song to the TV show. Your job is to figure out what show it is. This drama aired on HBO for 5 seasons, starting in 2010. Throughout its run, it was nominated for 57 Emmys, winning 20. Some of the characters on the show were based on actual people from the time period. The soundtrack for the show won a Grammy at the 54th Awards ceremony. This drama aired on HBO for 5 seasons, starting in 2010. Throughout its run, it was nominated for 57 Emmys, winning 20. Some of the characters on the show were based on actual people from the time period. The soundtrack for the show won a Grammy at the 54th Awards ceremony. All right, so here is your theme song. Starring Steve Buscemi, that's Boardwalk Empire. Great show, fantastic show. I am a sucker for anything that's kind of a period piece like that, and I love Steve Buscemi. Great show. If you haven't watched it, I do highly recommend you give it a shot.
Number 9.
Number 9, arts and literature. In the famous Edward Hooper painting Nighthawk, featuring a man sitting in a diner at nighttime. What is the name of the diner which is shown in the painting? Now, before I repeat this, I got a little bit of pushback on this in the league, but it's easily debunked what they were arguing. The original painting, this painting is very famous and it has been redone numerous times, and it's up in bars and man caves and all kinds of stuff, and things have been altered. But on the original Nighthawk painting featuring a man sitting in a diner at nighttime, what is the name of the diner? Phillies is the right answer. Phillies.
Number 8.
Number 8, she's a beauty. Sports for this one. During the 2019 NBA playoffs, who hit the first winning buzzer beater in Game 7 history? Now, that's any Game 7 in the NBA playoffs, not just the finals. Hasn't ever happened in the finals. That would be epic. During the 2019 NBA playoffs, who hit the first winning buzzer beater in Game 7 history? Creating one of the most epic sports photos I've ever seen, Kawhi Leonard, while playing for the Toronto Raptors, hit a shot fading out of bounds on the right side in the short corner to beat the 76ers. The ball bounced around 2 or 3, maybe 4 times before it fell in.
Number 7.
Clues and clips. Let's go to the movies, guys. Just like earlier for the TV show, but now we're looking for a movie. I'll give you a clue, then I'll play the audio clip. Released in the mid-90s, this comedy tells the story of a socially and emotionally immature man. Even though the film was not a great box office hit, it has achieved cult status. It had a tagline that read, "If at first you don't succeed, lower your standards." Released in the mid-90s, this comedy tells the story of a socially and emotionally immature man. Even though not a great box office hit, it has achieved cult status. The film had a tagline that read, "If at first you don't succeed, lower your standards."
Let's say you're driving along the road with your family, and you're driving along, la-li-la, woo, and then all of a sudden there's a truck tire in the middle of the road, and you hit the brakes. Whoa, that was close. Now let's see what happens when you're driving with the other guy's brake pads. You're driving along, and all of a sudden the kids are yelling from the back seat, "I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy." "Not now, damn it." Truck tire. I can't stop. Help!
Oh my gosh. Oh, from 1995's Tommy Boy. That is one of my all-time favorite scenes. And just that 30-second audio clip, I swear I could listen to it over and over and over.
Number 6.
Number 6 for this one, entertainment. In the 1999 sci-fi The Matrix, all the references to street corners are real intersections from what American city? In the 1999 sci-fi The Matrix, all the references to street corners are real intersections from what American city? Whenever you hear things like this, there's always some sort of link. It's never by just chance. The directors, there were 2 directors, brothers that directed that. They were both from Chicago. So all the references to street corners, which is a pretty big deal in the original Matrix, those are real intersections from the city of Chicago.
Number 5.
Food and beverage. With only a handful providing them with an entire day's worth of vitamin B1 and zinc, astronauts are only allowed to bring what kind of nuts as their only real food into space? Food and beverage for number 5. With only a handful providing them with an entire day's worth of vitamin B1 and zinc, astronauts are only allowed to bring what kind of nuts as their only real food into space? So just a handful of pecans or pecans, depending on where you're at in the country, provide you with enough B1 and zinc. That's the only type of real food astronauts are allowed to take with them.
Number 4.
Number 4, technology. In 1955, what still relevant electronics company introduced the first television remote control? In 1955, what still relevant electronics company introduced the first TV remote control? Zenith is the correct answer. Even though you don't necessarily see the name Zenith on a lot of stuff anymore, they are very much still in business and very much very profitable.
Number 3.
Food and beverage once again. When dropped in a glass of champagne, what fruit will continuously bounce up and down from top to bottom of the glass? When dropped in a glass of champagne, what fruit will continuously bounce up and down from top to bottom of the glass? So the answer to this I thought was going to be way more complicated. I thought it was going to involve some chemistry and, things of that nature. Raisin is the correct answer. Had some people argue with me that I should accept grape, but this is why grape is not an acceptable answer. The reason they do this, little air bubbles form around the wrinkles of the raisin. That raises it to the top of the surface. When it hits the surface, all those little bubbles pop and it drops back down to the bottom. Then those bubbles from the champagne do the same thing again and again and again. So again, I thought it was going to be something to do with chemicals and things of that nature, but nope, just little air bubbles wrapping around the wrinkles of a raisin.
Number 2.
Number 2, music for this one. With 5, what band has won the most Grammys for Best Rock Album? With 5, what band has won the most Grammys for Best Rock Album? Winning more Grammys for Best Rock Album than any other band to ever walk the planet, the Foo Fighters.
Number 1.
Number 1, miscellaneous for this one. When the first mechanical alarm clock was invented in 1787, the top of what hour was the only time you could set the alarm for? When the first mechanical alarm clock was invented in 1787, the top of what hour was the only time you could set the alarm for? So the first mechanical alarm clock was invented in 1787 by American Levi Hutchinsons of New Hampshire. 4 a.m. is the only time it would ring. He designed it just for himself, and that's when he had to get up to go to work. He didn't really have the foresight to design it to do other times. Maybe he didn't know how. I don't know. There's not a lot of information out there about it. I can tell you that Hutchins, during the American Revolutionary War, was a fifer under his father's command and witnessed the burning of Charlestown, Massachusetts. Levi Hutchins had to have been one of the most annoying people in the world. Imagine, you don't know what an alarm clock is, and your neighbor all of a sudden has some kind of bell ringing every morning at 4 a.m. I don't think history is going to favor Levi Hutchins. There it is, guys, my top 10 in 10. Hope you enjoyed it. Really enjoying the podcast. Hope you are as well. I'm going to try to put more and more episodes out there. Got some more things in store. If you're enjoying it and you'd like to support the podcast, head on over to my Anchor page. It is in the description of the podcast. But regardless, thank you for checking it out. I'm John Boyce, and this has been the Brainiac Trivia Top 10 in 10.